Okay, good afternoon. It is April 24th and we are headed into April 25th. I am going to set this in motion and I'm going to let you watch while I talk a little bit about last night. Last night we got a 1-2 punch. We had a small storm with less density that came in ahead of the big storm. And the big storm had a massive amount of density and it was moving super fast, and it was a scoop shovel. It came along, scooped up that slower moving storm, pushed us at it, and that is what caused our 8. And we had solar winds coming in there as well, so that is what peaked us out to be that fantastic show we had last night that a lot of you didn't get to see. I'm sorry. If some of you were up at the wee early hours of the morning, it did get fantastic. I don't think I've ever seen auroras move quite the same way in all my years of doing this. They were blowing past us like shimmers, like we were in a rocket blowing through them. It was amazing. Even through the clouds, it was amazing. So, and some of you may have caught my video. Now, how many of you have been paying attention and watching the feed here? How many of you have seen what you need to be looking at? I'm going to pause this. We're going to back up. I'm going to direct you right here. You see this area right here? We're going to slowly move forward. See it starting to break right there. See how it's crimping and it's twisting? That is actually a filament that's lifting off the sun. It's twisting, lifting off. And it's twisting together like taffy. And right here, it breaks. Whoop, there it goes. There it broke. But what I want you to see, as it leaves off the surface of the sun and it's moving out to the outer bands, look how thick that is. Look how dense that is. That is really super, super dense. It is going to miss us, but that's a good sign because that's coming toward us. It may calm down as it comes into Earth basing, but as it gets just past us, it may kick off again. And it may deliver just like the sunspot we're getting hit with now. Now, just below that, let's pause this. Just below that, you can see you've got more filaments down here and more tornadoes. You have a good beta class flare or sunspot here that's developing to be bigger. And now we're going to jump over here and we're going to look at that sunspot region that region of filaments that's been delivering all the activity. And I'm going to take this slowly forward. I want you to look at that big dark filament that's in the U shape lifting off. See how tall that's getting? How big that is? Now, right next to it, you see all that long tube of filaments that's all in a row. And I'm going to back this up. Look right here. You see how all these filaments are sitting here. They're all in a row. They have a complex, another filament reaching into them. They've got another filament reaching around them. Now, as I move forward, watch it. It's going to break right there. It's starting to break. The filament got so far above the surface of the sun that the sun lost gravity. It's able to break. Now here it is. You can see the plasma leaving the surface of the sun right here. Look how dense that is. And you can see the start of the reconnection. This is incredible. See how that's starting to loop right back around? And it reaches right back down into the sun and creates the loops again. This isn't done and it can go off again. And I think it probably will because there's so much energy right here. So that is coming at us. Looking at the coronal holes, this is a little bit smaller. We have another northern coronal hole stream developing right here, or coronal hole opening up here that is new. Maybe one that's starting to reach back into this one and open up. We have our 3285, which is the sunspot that is looking really gnarly down under the coronal hole, but we have a new 3286, a new 3287, and the new 3288 is going to be coming in around over here. These are beta gammas. 85 is a beta. These are just babies. They aren't there yet. 83 is over here. It is a beta class. And 3282 is up here, and it is a beta class. These are producing CMEs. They are producing flaring, and these are your game players right now. So, 3279, 3282 has produced the two CMEs that went directly to the north. They shot off and they went to the north. Kind of out in front of us and up to the north. This is the one. There was the CMEs, but we've also have flaring coming out of this point. So we're going to have a lot of really activity, a lot of active stuff coming at us in the next couple of days, because we've had 2 or 3 CMEs out of this. 2 of them were earth facing and a flare. And then 3285 has also produced a small flare. It is building in another sunspot. This portion of it down here is new and rapidly developing. So I think this sunspot is rapidly turning into something really complex. It's going to hit that connection with in magnetic field lines between Earth and Sun, rotate just past it, and I bet you it's going to just go crazy just like this sunspot is now. So you want to keep eyes on that one. Looking at our CME that in Cactus, you can see here how dense this is. Look how dense this is coming out of here. It kind of, the densest part of it is going to go just a hair behind us, but we may get slapped with it. But it is going all the way around the halo. Southern hemisphere will probably get it better than the northern hemisphere, at a guess, because it's just moving more to the south. But look at this. This is just massively dense. And there's your second CME that's going to come slightly ahead of us, but it may spiral back a little bit and give us another nudge. But you can look at this. There's just, you can see the density of the wind and the plasma coming off the sun from these all the way around the halo. So this is going to be another spike. And if it's catching coronal hole streams and it's catching prior flares or prior CMEs in front of it, again, it's going to be just like last night. Maybe not as big, but it'll act like last night, where it scoops it up, pushes it up, makes it more dense, moves it faster, and spikes it up. I predict if this hits at dark, it's going to be right before dawn. It's going to be in the early morning hours if it hits tonight. If not, it's going to hit in the middle of the day tomorrow, and there's, it's just the breaks. But we have a steady increase coming in on the 27th that will, in winds. And if we continue to have flaring and we continue to have activity, that will increase if we get a dead halo hit. So I, by no means do I think this week is done and you have time and a chance to run this. Tonight will be your best bet. I'm going to bank this is going to hit closer to after midnight. Probably closer to, I think they're going to be a little bit slower tonight. Maybe I'm wrong, but we're still at a 2. It's 7 o'clock at night. We're well into that 4. I'm not seeing movement. I'm going to guess it's not going to take off until later than predicted. But then it still could be bigger than expected, especially if that CME that took off is moving faster than what they think. And remember, a CME can take anywhere from 8 minutes to 36 hours to hit us, depending on how fast it's moving. That took off fast. I don't think it's going to take 36 hours. It may not even take 24 hours. We're just going to have to wait and see. Looking at our umbral spiral, you can see they're kind of predicting a spike up here. A couple of spikes now. Maybe they've upgraded this. Earth, they're predicting is right dead in the middle of the day. And if they're right, then it'll be somewhere in the afternoon. If they're wrong, and like they were last night, and it's hours earlier than expected, then that will hit us closer to dawn. I'm hoping that they're closer to the dawn area. But then you can see we're going to go through the 26th. It's going to hold steady. We're not going to be big, but we're not going to be small either. And then it will start increasing again as the second coronal hole stream hits us. And I'm banking that growing sunspot is going to wait till that coronal hole stream starts to hit us, and it's going to pop off and give it a push. So I would look later in the week for another solar storm if we don't get hit with rain and clouds. Looking at the weather forecasts, it is Monday night? Tuesday night. Tuesday night we have partly cloudy skies. It is going to be a little clearer than it was last night. Still pretty cloudy in some areas. Wednesday is going to be clearer, and that may or may not be your peak day. We may get activity, we may not. Wednesday or Thursday night, when we start to peak up, it's going to cloud up, and it will be cloudy through Friday. But by Friday night, the clouds are going to begin to break a little bit. It'll be mostly cloudy, but Friday night, you may get some breaks in the weather. Wisconsin, Minnesota, I kind of think by Thursday night, you're going to be out of the game. Then by Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, we're all under clouds and rain in the Great Lakes area. Let me pull up the satellite I accidentally shut. Tonight, I think Eastern UP or Western UP to mid UP, northern western Wisconsin down into mid latitude western Wisconsin, and into the mid to lower latitudes in Minnesota is your best bet. I think western Michigan is going to be your best bet tonight as far as cloud covers go. I'm not seeing a lot of cloud cover moving across the lake. Maybe a little bit in the lower latitudes, but I'm not seeing a lot of cloud repopulation. I think we're going to be just enough warm enough that maybe it's not going to build those clouds in quite so thick. For the rest of the country, if this peaks up during this next week to a KP7 or 8, 32 different states saw aurora last night. So if you have clear skies at any time during this week and you have a KP value of 6, 7, 8, 9, walk outside, look up in the sky and see what you can see. Anyone from the mid portions of the United States up at that point can see the auroras. And I don't think it will happen this time, but there has been a time that even the auroras were seen in the Caribbean. It's called a Carrington event. This is not a Carrington event. This is not one you need to worry about. This isn't the big one. I would more worry about that in September and March when we typically get our big storms. This is not it. Okay? This is starting to be normal. The last 3 or 4 cycles, we have not been normal. We haven't had normal auroras in more than 20 years. We're starting to get normal auroras, and it is awesome. We're going to see this increase over the next couple of years, and it is going to be amazing. And so the next couple of years is when you want to plan your vacations. You want to start studying the sun. You want to start studying the weather. You want to start studying your peak times and know when you want to put in for your vacations to travel. All right. That being said, I am going to issue a caution. We are taking huge geomagnetic loads. That dumps a lot of electromagnetic energy into our planet. Our magnetosphere is getting pushed and reshaped around us. That puts pressure on our planet. So there are other things other than pretty auroras we need to think about. The first thing you need to think about, if you know somebody living in a state that has severe weather and they're under storm watches and warnings, you need to tell them to be extra cautious, because huge amounts of electromagnetic energy dumped into our atmosphere will feed storms and make them much worse. It will feed lightning and make lightning absolutely incredible. So if you are in a storm region, you need to pay special close attention to weather when you know there is a solar storm like this. And coming over the next couple of years, it's going to become a bigger issue. You need to pay attention. Now, the other thing that auroras do, or these geomagnetic storms do, is they pressurize our planet. And our Earth is not a solid ball. It can be misshapen and it can be moved. And when our magnetosphere is getting pressurized, different parts of the planet gets more pressure than others. And when all this electromagnetic energy gets dumped into our planet, it can activate fracture zones. It can activate volcanic activity. So if you live near a volcano, if you live in an earthquake-prone region, please make sure you have your go bag ready. Make sure you are prepared for earthquake activity in a slightly increased scale. There has been a pattern over the last couple of weeks where we have been getting earthquakes in the upper 5s, upper 6s. We've even had low-level 7s that have hit several areas. There has been, this week, one hit a trench in the ocean that produced tsunami warnings. So if you live in a tsunami area, you want to pay close attention to your earthquakes. Be ready to run if it's one that can cause a tsunami. Pay attention right now. These geomagnetic storms do more than cause auroras. You need to share that with your friends and family, so that if they're living in some of these regions that could be in danger, they're prepared. And you can see all the earthquakes, and as it rolls around here, there's a 5, there's a 5, there's a 7.2, there's a 5, 5.8, 6.3, 6.8, 7, 7.2. You can see that we've had some massive earthquakes down here. And where has most of the solar activity been hitting the worst? It's been hitting the southern side of the planet. The auroras have been on the southern hemisphere. They've been shooting out to the bottom, and they've been hitting the southern hemisphere of Earth. We're getting the big earthquakes there. So be prepared. Share this with your friends and family so everybody's prepared. So I'm going to leave you there. Happy hunting. Enjoy tonight, enjoy tomorrow, and hopefully Saturday or Friday night before we get completely clouded out. I hope to see lots of good things from tonight, and we will just pray that the solar storm is moving much faster than they think and hits before dawn.